show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Hey, welcome today to our episode. This is an episode called Deal Breakdown. We have a special guest, Matt Rogers. He's going to talk about a lot portfolio he just bought. He just waved, but you didn't see his hand. I did, though. So if y'all don't know Matt Rogers is out of California, but he has investing all over the country. So tell me about this lot portfolio you got, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's an interesting deal. So I've been doing a lot of work in Florida the last couple of years. And a lot of it has just been getting lots under contract and basically having them pre-sold to builders. So I'll form a relationship with some builders in the area first, find out what they're looking for, where they're looking for it, and then kind of go out and just shop for them. So I know when I get something back that's interesting in their wheelhouse, I can check out the specs of the lot, the size, sewer, septic, water, those kind of things, and know if it's a good fit for my buyer or not. Okay. So that way, when I put it under contract, I know it's pretty much already sold. This particular deal I did, I've been working with a builder in Central Florida, and he gave me a list of what he was looking for, and we went through and sent out a text campaign through HiveMind. And what came back was we had a lot of deals come back. One in particular was a lot portfolio, and there was a group, an investor group had bought 25 lots in this one neighborhood in Central Florida about 20 years ago. Never did anything with it. They were never built. They just kind of sat on it. I'm not sure what their plans were. They never told me, but they just had expressed an interest in selling their whole portfolio of 25 lots. So I took that and we agreed on a price, and I took it to my builder and said, hey, would you be interested in the lot portfolio? He said, well, let me do my due diligence on these and get back with you. And it took him about 2 weeks to do his due diligence. I kind of kept the seller moving along and just let them know, hey, I need to do some brief due diligence and we'll get back with you. And about 2 weeks later, the builder said, these all check out well. 22 of the 25 I'm really interested in. 3 of the 25 I'd need to reduce price because there's no water line hookups nearby.
Okay.
So we agreed on a price for all 25 with the seller, and I let him know that 3 of those lots needed to be discounted. I passed that discount along to my buyer, and we ended up coming to terms and got it done. So it worked out great. Yeah, go ahead.
That is cool, man. So all one seller, never built. You know how often that happens? People buy lots and never do anything with them. It happens all the time. So if you think this is like a one-time opportunity, there's probably thousands of them out there.
It does happen all the time, and I'm the one that's usually talking to these sellers to find out, why they never built, what happened. This particular investor group didn't give me a whole lot of details. They just said that, they had known for a while and they were interested in selling, and they just never really did much with them, which worked out great for me. The builder that I was working with on this, that was my buyer, had kind of paused his buying for 4 or 5 months towards the tail end of the kind of buying spree that most buyers went on. He had bought a bunch of lots late last year, and I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit while he was playing catch up with his actual building. So I caught him at the right time because he hadn't bought anything in 6 or 7 months. And he said he was looking for somewhere between like 20 and 40 lots. Well, I ended up giving him 25 in one shot. And then in addition to that, I sold him probably 6 or 7 other onesie, twosie type lots. So I probably sold him over 30 lots now at this point, just in the last couple of months.
So I do have a question on the portfolio side. Is it, did you have to do like 25 separate contracts, or was it like one contract with like 25 lots on it and the title figured it out?
That's a great question. And this one is a very unique type of case. I got all 25 lots under contract with the seller. So I got one contract with him for all 25 lots. And on the sell side, the builder had a loan from a lending company that lends cash to builders to buy lots. So we kind of had to play by the rules of the lender that the buyer was using. And what they needed was something that was kind of unique. I've never really dealt with this before, but they needed 13 lots on one contract and 12 of the other remaining lots all on individual contracts. So I ended up doing a double close instead of an assignment. An assignment would not have worked on this deal because of the nature of how the builder and their lender needed to close. We had to do 14 separate closings. 13 lots on one and then 12 individual transactions per lot on the remaining 12.
Wow, that's so closing costs for each lot.
Closing costs added up quite a bit. Those were the buyer's responsibility, so I didn't incur costs on that. And the good thing is the title company that we worked with there in Central Florida, it was a title company that the buyer does all of their deals with. So I would normally have brought in my title company to handle this, but his lender required a specific title company to get this done. So that's one thing you have to do too, is also just be flexible in cases like this, where maybe you're comfortable using a certain escrow company, title company that you're comfortable with. And in this case, I had to use somebody new, but they ended up being great. They've done many, many deals. They're professionals. They got everything done. And we were able to get everything locked up, and they were great to communicate with. And sometimes you never know. Sometimes you work with a new title company, and there can be some hiccups, and you're just not familiar with each other or how they operate. This all went fairly smoothly, especially if we're having to do 14 closings on the B2C side transaction, which would be my transaction as the seller and the builder as the buyer.
What was like when you got the lead to close? What was that transaction time?
I got the lead, and it took from the time I got it in, I went back and forth with. There's a group of 3 people that were part of this LLC that owned the 25 lots, and they had to kind of go amongst each other to make sure they wanted to take this deal, and we discussed price. So it took about a week and a half of them to kind of talk amongst themselves to figure out how much they were looking for all 25 lots, and how quickly they wanted to close, because they had owned these for so long. And they said they've had other people reach out to them, in prior years to try to buy them from them, and they just weren't ready at that time. So that's why it's good to keep your marketing consistent, because you just never know when somebody's ready to sell. They had people reaching out to them as early as 6, 7, 8 months ago looking to buy these lots, and they just said they weren't ready. I happened to hit them at the right time. They said they were ready. We got a deal done pretty quickly, about 7 to 10 days after they took some time to kind of discuss what they wanted. And then we got it under contract between 7 and 10 days after initial talks. And then we had an additional 2 weeks after that for due diligence with the buyer. And we had a handshake deal basically after 7 to 10 days with the seller. And I just said, hey, let me just run some very brief due diligence just to make sure this is what I think it is. And then I'm going to go into my formal due diligence if we go under contract. And they said, okay, no problem. And that gave the buyer time to do his brief due diligence he needed before we went under contract. And he came back and said, you know what, 22 of these 25 I really like. 3 of them I'm not crazy about, but if you give me a good deal on them, I'll take them, and we can do everything in one shot. So that ended up working out. And then it took about 4 weeks of actual closing. There was a lot of title searches that needed to be run. And then Hurricane Ian came through the week we were supposed to close and pushed everything back about 10 days. So it ended up being about just a little over 4 weeks in closing. We were going to close in about 3 weeks, and it pushed it back by a week and a half. So I would say from first contact to actual closing was between 6 and 7 weeks.
No, that's amazing, man. It's kind of cool. I've never done a portfolio before, so I was intrigued myself, because that's interesting, man. It's kind of cool. That's 14 closing. That's crazy.
Yeah, and getting the packets from the title company, and they could only work with what the lender was requiring to get done. So it was one of those things where it's not ideal, but it's what happened, what needed to happen to get the deal done. And in cases like these, you just kind of have to roll with the punches. It wasn't a big deal. It's just a lot more closing paperwork to sign. And the closing company made it pretty easy. The only thing I really needed to get signed outside of a couple of general affidavits for the whole package was just to get the warranty deeds notarized and signed. So they made that very easy on me. Instead of sending me 14 completely new closing packets, they kind of sent me one brief one that kind of covered everything. And then on top of that was I had to get 14 deeds signed over. 13 of them were on one deed, and then 12 were all on individual.
So how much profit did you make on it in 7 weeks?
So I ended up making the total deal profit on that was just over 121,000.
Boom, 6-figure months with HiveMind. Another one. No,
so
awesome.
I run all my texting through HiveMind, and it's been great. Obviously, you and Anthony have been a big part of what I've been doing for the last, I would say, year and a half, almost 2 years now. And it's great. We have a good community of people who encourage and help each other. And this was one of those things where it's just, having the platform and the people behind you, to bounce ideas off of and get things done. And it's just great to kind of have that encouragement from like-minded people who are striving to do the same things that you want to do. So this deal, I've done a lot of infill lot deals over the years. I've really ramped it up quite a bit, I would say, in the last year to year and a half. And this is one where it just kind of is a testament to the power of trying to stay consistent with your marketing, because you never know what's going to happen. You can hit singles and doubles, which are great. And I those are bread and butter deals. Those are deals that are like $5,000 to $15,000 per lot you can get on a lot of these deals, and just kind of keep them churning. And, you can bring in a pretty predictable 20 to 40,000 a month just in doing info lot deals if you have good buyers that are continuing to buy and you continue to keep your marketing consistent. So, and then if you continue to do that and keep your marketing out there, you're going to get a home run deal like this pop up. And this isn't the first one I've done. It's not going to be the last. And, you keep your name out there and let people know you're interested in doing deals, and stuff like this happens. So it's not far-fetched. Anybody listening to this or watching this, you can do it too. And you just have to kind of just keep plugging along. And there's going to be some weeks and months where things don't go as planned. They happen to me still.
Yep.
Sometimes deals fall through. Your marketing doesn't go as well as you had hoped. But as long as you don't give up and just keep pushing on, these deals do pop up. And when they do, you need to be ready for them, because I had a buyer lined up who looked at these and we got everything done quickly. And I've done enough of these to kind of know what to look out for and things to kind of keep into consideration when you're doing a deal of this size. And, I got transactional funding for the deal. So, I bought it technically and resold it the same day. But to do so, instead of an assignment where I'm no money out of pocket, I had to bring $461,000 to close on this, even though it was a same day closing. Yeah.
Nice.
And so, and this is another power to having a good network of people behind you. There's a guy in a few other groups I'm a part of that stepped up and was a pleasure to work with. His name's Abraham Gray. He's out of Atlanta. He's a big time real estate investor worth tens of millions. And he stepped up and no problem put up 461,000, got his money back the same day, and was a pleasure to do business with. So the more people you have in your network that you can count on for things like this, I had somebody wire in almost $500,000, and I had to obviously provide the contracts and the title work and title company and things like that, and for him to be comfortable with it. But great guy, did a very smooth, seamless transactional funding, and it worked out great.
There you go. Deals like this don't come very often, but when they come, you got to be ready and have the network in place to make that happen.
It can come sooner than you think, as long as you're putting yourself out there. If you're just kind of hiding in the shadows and hoping something happens, it's probably not going to work out for you. If you're willing to put yourself out there, and it's not always easy, you just got to keep pushing through those weeks and months where things aren't going right. If you want to give up, it's one of those things where you just got to kind of do what you can to keep the lights on, and then a deal like this will pop up. And when it does, you got to be ready to jump on it and have the people in place. I had a transactional funder I knew who could get this deal done. We had to use a lender's title company, which was fine. They did a great job. And, there's just some experience that comes along with doing this for 4 or 5 years now, where, it helps you out a lot. But for anybody new or has just done a few deals, or maybe hasn't even done a deal, There's plenty of people in the Hive Mind network that are willing to help you out and jump in, me included, and do what it takes to JV on a deal or just help people out to get to the finish line.
There you go.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, man. Thanks, Matt, for coming on. Quick little 10-15-minute episode. We're going to do a lot more of these, so I hope you like this new segment. Keep it out for episodes like this, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for coming. See you on the next one. Bye.